Welcome back. Welcome back. This is your boy Q dropping another episode of a reaction show for the WWE's Netflix show Unreal. Uh, this is episode 5. I finally got to it. We've reviewed episodes 1 through 4. I just watched 5 tonight. I'm doing my review. This is the last episode until the summer. They did mention that there will be more episodes coming this summer. And a little spoiler alert for that, it says focusing more on John Cena's final run will be in the next episodes later on this summer. So when those episodes drop, I will react to those as well. I don't know if I'm gonna do per episode again like I did this time, but we shall see. So before I switch over to and show the logo, want y'all to check out the new logo here of the Black Four Horsemen Wrestling Podcast. I've uploaded that logo onto our YouTube channels, our Twitter/X, Threads, Instagram, everywhere that we have social media page has the new logo now. I did use AI to create it, but just playing around with it. But we took our original image, had AI kind of play around it to kind of spoof it up a little bit better. So, and I like it. So, just wanted to display that. So, but what we're here tonight for is to talk about uh episode 5 of the Netflix show WWE Unreal. So the last time when we left off on episode 4, it showed Seth Rollins in a match with LA Knight where he did his flip and then immediately grabbed his knee. Now we know not only from present day, but back with what we saw in that episode, that this was all the work. This has all been laid out even before they had the match. Well, right after, basically rather Seth winning Money in the Bank, they had already kind of thought of this idea and switched it up. So we come into episode 5 off of that note. Now, this episode of Unreal was entitled "The Pop," and any of your wrestling fans out there know that pop is that's that initial reaction, crowd reaction when something happens. Whether they most of the time the pops are positive when it comes to cheering and screaming as opposed to booing someone out of the building, but that's what the pop is, and that's what the title of this episode was. This episode focused on SummerSlam of 2025, the first 2-night SummerSlam. So, of course, the first part of the show focused on night 1. Last part of the show focused on night 2. And within night 1, they kind of focused on basically 2 matches. And that was the Jelly Roll and Randy Orton tag team match against Logan Paul and Drew McIntyre. And they also focused on CM Punk versus Gunther for the world title, which was the main event of night 1. So, because going into keeping that in mind, let's focus on the first match let's talk about, which is Jelly Roll and Randy Orton and their tag team match. So they showed Jelly Roll prepping. We talked about him in the previous episode, in episode 4. They did a spot where, again, trying to bring up more buzz to the show, where Jelly Roll had an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel, I believe. Yeah, Jimmy Kimmel show, where he was basically the host. And as he got ready to end the show, Logan Paul comes out, threatens him, and they and Jelly Roll ends up choke slamming Logan Paul through a table. That initial reaction nationwide, worldwide, everybody saw that. Bringing more eyes to the product, which is what that was intended to do. So that sets up the match, the tag team match. And before the match was as they was playing the match, you saw a lot of Jelly Roll talking to Triple H, laying out the plan. It showed him talking to Shane Helms, Hurricane, who's one of the producers, showing them how to take a certain move off of where he would lay on the announce table, and Logan Paul would come off the top rope and hit him. But what's interesting, and I found this out after the fact too, when the match actually happened in real life, is that Jelly Roll wanted to lose. Now, we've seen celebrities interact with WWE before, and usually they come out on top. You want the celebrity to win, you want the celebrity to shine and get some praise in that match. But Jelly Roll came to Triple H and said, "I don't know what I'm doing. This is like my first match ever. I don't want people to think this is just a cheap way of me getting a pop like the episode says. He thinks he should lose, and that's what they decided to do. Jelly Roll took that splash off the top rope onto the table during the match. The doctors all came out to help him to the back. Jelly Roll turns around and goes back to the ring to get that initial crowd back on him. That's okay. This guy's not going to quit. So he came back into that to finish the match, but ultimately took the pinfall from Logan Paul and lost that match. So, um, yeah, that was pretty much it for that particular match. Again, they showed how much Jelly Roll actually loves this business. Like he didn't come into this just to promote something or just to bring some eyes on him. He did it because he wanted to try it. It was fun for him. And not only helped out WWE, but also helped out himself with that. So, big ups to Jelly Roll. But the main focus on night one was the main event. And I forgot until I saw this that Cardi B actually hosted SummerSlam. Remember, she came out at the beginning of the show as a host. If I remember correctly, we didn't see her anymore the rest of those 2 nights, but she did open the show. So, big ups to Cardi B. The main event was Gunther versus CM Punk for the World Heavyweight title. You see, as Seth is hiding in the bus the whole trip, you see a segment where Paul Heyman is talking to him on a cell phone. He said, "Are you in your bus?" He said, I'm coming to see you." And they go and hang out in the bus to stay hidden so people wouldn't know that he was there. But they showed a segment where Gunther was talking to Triple H, and Gunther had no idea that Seth really wasn't hurt. So he talked about that, telling Triple H that he got us all and fooled us all. But the match goes down. If you remember correctly, very great match. CM Punk won the match, won the title. There's a quote that Paul Heyman said that I really enjoy. He said, "We're doing theater here, and this is what this is about. WWE is storytelling." And I even tell my friends now that they still want to come on that to be like, "Well, wrestling's not real, wrestling is fake." I mean, we know what it is. Wrestling is storytelling, just like any movie or any TV series. They're telling stories, and that's the way it's always been for me. That's why I'm a fan. The drama behind those storytellings, the drama behind those stories, is the reason why I come back every week to watch. There's no nothing crazy to say about that. That's just what it is. So they lay out the plan with CM Punk wins the title. He's crying. He's very emotional about it. Right as he's holding the title up in the air, you hear Seth Rollins' music, "Burn It Down." CM Punk's face changing. I remember saying this at the time that it happened. That was like, wow, CM Punk's whole face just dropped when he heard Seth's music. Even when I heard the music, I said, well, Seth's still hurt. He's just coming out there to warn CM Punk that once he's healthy, he's going to be cashing in that Money in the Bank on him. So Seth Rollins, so you got the initial pop, goes back to that word of the title of the show, go back to that initial pop of CM Punk's music hitting. Then as he talking trash to CM Punk, he turns to walk away. And even I thought, well, he's not, this is just foreshadowing. CM Punk is not ready. He's kind of like that. As he walks away, and we all know it now, he drops the crutches. That's an initial pop where everybody sees the crutches out. Then he slowly takes the knee brace off, grabs the Money in the Bank briefcase, and runs to the ring. And the crowd is going crazy at this point. So it's levels to the pop. It starts here and it builds up. And they even mentioned something about elevating the pop, I think is what they call. As we all know now, he bashes CM Punk with the briefcase a few times. Curb stomps him. He gets the pin. Seth Rollins leaves night one of SummerSlam as the new World Heavyweight Champion. And I remember that being the end of night one. I was like, well, they can't get any better than this when it comes to night two, because there's the Rouge of the Century. I was not expecting to see Seth come back that quickly. Again, I thought he was legitimately hurt, because he even talks about in the show having to walk around with those crutches, lying to people. And even as he told his little girl that it was pretend, but then had to basically she ended up telling one of her teachers or daycare person working at daycare, and Seth basically had to tell her, well, you can't tell anybody else this. So keep it kayfabe as much as possible. So, but that's what it's about. It's pretending. It's about the storytelling. You got to keep that story alive, and that's what it was. So that's how you end night one. I think Punk even said it in one of the interviews. He said what they do is they try to make people, and I say people, the audience like us, make us feel what they feel. And in that emotional time with CM Punk winning the title, uh, finally after coming back to WWE and then losing it that quickly, the roller coaster of emotions going up and down. But at the end of the day, that's what this is for. That's what they do. So we move into night two, and night two of SummerSlam. Again, they focus based on two matches, and that is Becky Lynch versus Laura Valkyria for the Women's Intercontinental Championship, and also the main event of night two, which was John Cena defending his title against Cody Rhodes. So I'm gonna start with Becky Lynch and Laura first. So they showed them setting up the match, how they're gonna do everything. This is a no disqualification match, so anything goes. They talk about the different spots that they're going to do, um, and and as the match goes, you see different things that were supposed to happen that didn't happen. There was an issue with Becky Lynch zip tying Laura's hands and her hands coming loose from the zip tie. And instead of just rolling with it, she puts her hand back into the zip tie. But the camera caught that. So now it just looks like didn't go as planned. Now Laura even mentioned it before going in. She just wasn't in the right headspace in her mind going through the ring for whatever reason. She just wasn't feeling what she normally feels. And I think that being in her head, mentally playing in her head, along with that particular, I'll call it a botch spot, but it really wasn't. It's just something that happened. Just kept messing with her head, kept messing with her head. And I even remember watching this match live, and I was like, man, this match is going really long. And they even mentioned that they went like 10 minutes over. Because of just different things, trying to set up different moves and finish the match. But the match was done. Becky Lynch retained her title, but this is a very emotional match for Lara. She talks about how she's perfectionist, and when things don't go right, it gets in her head. And she also mentions the fact that in WWE, it's almost like a quarterback playing football. They always say you got to have short-term memory because you throw that interception, but you got to go right back after the next play and make it and try to improve. She mentioned how they really don't have time to really think about it because they got Raw the next day. So the pay-per-view was that night two was that Sunday, and the next day is Monday Night Raw. You got to be right back on your game. So, but I appreciate them kind of showing that side of her and showing how much pressure they put on these superstars put on themselves when it comes to entertaining for us. That's what it is. It's entertaining for people like us in the audience, giving us what we pay for those that attended live, and for the people that watching at home. They do this for us, and in time they feel like it's not up to their standards. They're not happy about it. So I appreciate that. So now we go to the main event. Now go back to memory lane. This is with Cena coming off of his heel turn and switching back to a babyface because Cody and John Cena had a match at WrestleMania. It was not a great match. Cena was the heel, but wasn't really doing much in the match. The match felt very slow, very robotic. John Cena doing it on purpose as a heel because he did not want the crowd to cheer for him. But you realize in this episode as they talk is that you're John Cena. People are going to cheer for you. It's going to be very hard for them for these boos to sustain. And they had a different plan of turning John Cena back as babyface. They even mentioned that complete possibility with Cody maybe getting jumped by someone and John Cena coming out to help him bring back. But they changed that because Cody was going away to film the Street Fighter movie. Roman Reigns is in that movie as well. 50 Cent, a bunch of other celebrities are in this movie. That was going to be gone for 6 months. So they scrapped that idea and decided to go with John Cena turning face on SmackDown a couple days before the SummerSlam PLE. And I remember even telling my friends then, I said, you can't just turn Cena back babyface just like that on a random SmackDown. So I even thought then that was a rouge and that he was still going to be a heel coming in to SummerSlam. But I knew I was wrong then because when Cena's music hit, you had the blackout Titantron, the black screen, and then it switched to the colors that we all are familiar with when it comes to John Cena. Whether it's the blue and red or the orange and green or red or as the Rock will call it, fruity pebbles. It's just that image of color, that image of brightness, that image of kids celebrating being happy. I knew then, okay, the John Cena that we all love is back now. So in that match, so Cody had his interest, John Cena had his, coming out with the change of the colors and everything. So, and it's a great match. They talk about how John Cena is retiring because he felt like he can't go like he's been going. But even Triple H mentioned that Cody seems, I mean that John Cena can still move to the best of him. He even attempted and pulled off a Canadian Destroyer in that match. Their match was a street fight, so you had weapons and you had different things going on in that match. The match, goes back and forth. There's a bunch of celebrities in the ring. I don't think I noticed it at the time of the event, but Tyler Hansberg, who John Cena ended up using one of his crutches. Tyler Hansberg was actually out with an injury during that time. Actually, still out with that same injury, but using a crutch on Cody Rhodes. There was a bunch of other different celebrities out there. I didn't write everybody about down that I saw, but even in the reel showing different camera angles, I noticed a few people. And as they're setting up the finish for the match, you notice Cody did almost like a salute to John Cena out of respect before putting him in the crossroads and getting the pin. Triple H, going back to before the match, Triple H even mentioned something about as Cody is trying to lay out, what do I do as the finish? He even mentioned the salute, and even Triple H quote, well, it's the "sorry, I love you" bit that from Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair when Ric Flair retired the first time in WWE. Shawn Michaels had a very similar finish where right before he attempted his finish, he told Ric Flair that he's sorry, but he had to do it, and Ric Flair had to lose. So back to that. So the show Unreal looks like it's wrapping up. Cena loses to Cody. Cody wins the WWE Championship back. Everybody is praising John Cena's back now as a babyface. The crowd is praising him. And I even forgot that this even happened and realized I just tell you how long ago SummerSlam was. SummerSlam was back in August. We're now in February 2026. So as Cena is still in the ring, you then go back to Gorilla and you see one of John Cena's biggest rivals, Brock Lesnar. This is when Brock Lesnar comes back. So as the camera is panning on John Cena in the ring, as he gets ready to leave, Brock Lesnar's music hit. And this episode is titled The Pop. Brock Lesnar got the biggest pop of the night. The crowd went crazy. Everybody like, oh my God, how could this be? How is Brock Lesnar back? Brock Lesnar comes back, walks to the ring. I want to say he suplexed John Cena and then did the F5. And the SummerSlam show ended with Brock Lesnar standing tall. And we know now that would set up a match between him and John Cena and Brock Lesnar later on, which I'm thinking will probably be covered in the next episodes of Unreal that are dropping this summer. So yeah, that's how this episode pretty much ended. The recap of it, the summary of it. I love seeing all the behind the scenes stuff, how they set up certain things, who all knew certain things were going to happen when they happened. I love knowing things like that. Just like anything else, I mean, their business is storytelling. Like I mentioned earlier, Triple H said that again toward the end of the show. And again, that's how the show ended. So those are my reactions and recaps of episode 5. Again, I told y'all I love the series. I've always loved it. I'm curious to see. They showed a little trailer of the next episodes dropping this summer, which would be focused toward the tail end of John Cena's retirement. Those matches are gonna focus on it. So as soon as that season drops, I will drop my reactions to those episodes. So before I wrap this up, I just wanted to mention that if you follow the channel, you may see another playlist where I have been playing WWE 2K25. Well, they just dropped news that WWE 2K26 is coming out next month in March. So I'm trying to wrap up what we've been doing. We've been playing Universe Mode on 2K25. I want to wrap that up as much as possible and check out The Island, which I still haven't done, and I need to at least get that done before I put 25 away for 26, because my initial plan now is to purchase WWE 2K26 when it drops. But this time the playlist will be the career mode. I always play the career mode on these WWE games, but I've never videoed them or streamed them. So I think that's the plan for 2026. I do just like 25. I bought the Bloodline edition. I am going to buy the Attitude Era edition with all the DLC. Just buy it all at once. I don't have to worry about purchasing new DLC when it drops. And when that DLC does drop, I make sure I'll post videos about that as well. So again, thank y'all for tuning in for this episode, another reaction show of WWE Unreal and everything else we got going on. I'll put the link to the WWE 2K25 playlist toward the end, so you can check that out. And those are live, so you'll get click on your notification bell so you know when I'm streaming that game. And let's wrap that 2K25 up before 26 drops. So again, thank y'all, and I'm out. Peace.